today, I find that really interesting that today it still stands as law.
And we know who, here's the really strange thing that a lot of people don't know is, who was not the last, but one of the Supreme Court justices who wrote a decision, New York, I think it was versus Sherrill, and ruled against the Indians based on the Doctrine of Discovery she authored the opinion was Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Really?
Yes. I wish I had the year. It was 2000 and something.
Because it was law and she had to go based on law unless she's going to.
Well, it's precedent. When you say law, yeah. It's case law. It's common law. It's not black and white law, but it is case law. Here's the thing though. It wasn't precedent or case law until Justice Marshall made it that way in 1823. And he didn't know what he had no idea. And I had a teacher, a professor in law school that went over it and said that he did not think that Chief Justice Marshall knew the impact he was going to have when he settled that little case, Johnson v. McIntosh.
Yes.
He had no idea that he thought he was putting in what we call dicta, which is just, dicta isn't supposed to be law in a legal case. When you're reading a legal decision, there's the rule of law in the case, and then there's dicta, which means it's like discussion. It's just a discussion. It's just words. But the court picked up on it, I think, because of greed, that his dicta was picked up and used as precedent for future Indian cases. That's what it was all about then, was, you know what? Chief Justice Marshall's onto something here, this right of discovery. Or the Doctrine of Discovery.
And then it led into the manifest destiny, and their.
Yes, it was, all of that was, based on the Doctrine of Discovery. Oh, this is an interesting side note, and then I'll give it back to you, is we were talking about being an agricultural society, making them farmers. I was shocked to read some writings of Jefferson. This was about 3 years ago. And it was because I really respect Jefferson's writings, but I never heard of this. He was so ahead of his time, but in kind of a very colonial way of thinking about Indians. He was very curious about Indians, and especially their burial mounds near Charlottesville, Virginia, where he lived. But anyway, what he said, what he wrote, was that he predicted that the colonists could never live in peace with the indigenous people here in America. He said that